Sudan on Friday became the latest Arab nation to agree to recognize Israel in a diplomatic triumph for U.S. President Donald Trump. The United Arab Emirates and Bahrain signed an accord at the White House last month to normalize relations with Israel, but Sudan carries added symbolism as an Arab nation that has been at war with Israel. Speaking to reporters, President Trump says he thinks Iran will be part of the deal someday.
I could see Iran. Ultimately, it sounds, right now, it doesn't sound like something that would happen, but I see it happening. Ultimately, they'll all be one unified family. It'll be an amazing thing.
The announcement makes Sudan the fifth Arab country to forge diplomatic relations with the Jewish state. Donald Trump launched an intense last-ditch re-election push Friday in Florida, insisting that COVID-19 is disappearing, while frontrunner Joe Biden hammered his message that the president had abdicated responsibility for a pandemic that is actually surging.
COVID-19 dwarfs anything we've faced in recent history, and it isn't showing any signs of slowing down. The virus is surging in almost every state. We passed 4.8 million cases.
But the president told a large crowd that Biden is just trying to scare people.
All he talks about is COVID, 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 because they want to scare people, and we've done so well with it. Now it's 99.8%. I mean, you look at what's going on, and we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner, we're rounding the corner beautifully.
With 50 million people having already cast early ballots, Biden has a firm lead in national polls, as well as in most of the battleground states, like Florida, that typically decide the winner of the U.S. presidential election. Azerbaijan and ethnic Armenian forces clashed in several parts of Nagorno-Karabakh on Friday, as the United States stepped up diplomatic efforts to try to end the deadliest fighting in the mountain enclave in over a quarter of a century. In Washington, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo met separately with the foreign ministers of Azerbaijan and Armenia in a new attempt to end nearly a month of bloodshed. A French government scientific advisor says the COVID-19 virus is spreading more quickly than during its initial outbreak in the spring, in one of the starkest warnings yet about the scale of the disease's resurgence engulfing Europe. Reuters' Olivia Chan reports.
Début septembre,
the COVID-19 virus is spreading more quickly in the second wave than during its initial outbreak in the spring. That's the warning from French government scientific advisor Arnaud Fontanet on Friday. The epidemiologist spoke on the day that France will go over the 1 million reported case threshold. The country will become the second Western European country to do that after Spain. Like many other European countries, France has ramped up restrictions to contain the disease.
That's Reuters' Olivia Chan reporting. In the United States, AstraZeneca says federal regulators are letting it resume testing of its coronavirus vaccine candidate. AP's Ed Donahue has details.
Tests on the vaccine were stopped worldwide early last month. A study volunteer in Britain became ill. AstraZeneca says studies have resumed in other countries, and the Food and Drug Administration is now giving the go-ahead. This is one of several coronavirus vaccine candidates in final stage testing. It's common to temporarily stop testing. Researchers want to know whether an illness is a side effect or a coincidence. In this case, the volunteer developed severe neurological symptoms consistent with a rare inflammation of the spinal cord. I'm Ed Donahue.
Gangs armed with knives and sticks blocked major roads in Lagos on Friday as demonstrations continue. Reuters' Francis McGuire has more.
Armed gangs stopped cars on a main road leading into Lagos on Friday, a day after Nigerian President Buhari called for demonstrations against police brutality to end. A highway leading to the international airport was obstructed by blockades manned by groups of young men who demanded cash from motorists. A Reuters witness said that buses whose drivers refused to pay were destroyed. To the east of the city in Lekki, armed men chased away police and several police stations were burned to the ground. Violence in Africa's biggest city has escalated since Tuesday night when a curfew was announced.
That is Reuters' Francis McGuire reporting.